Hi guys! Another topic in your supplemental packet that you are seeing is place value. So I wanted to do a video for place value review. Let's start off by answering, what is place value? The value of a digit depending on its place in a number. I've created a little number chart here, so we're going to review the place values of these numbers, and we always want to start with the ones position, which is to the left of the decimal. So just as a reminder, left is on this side, right is on this side. So we want to start with 5. So again, 5 is in the ones position. Okay, as I move further to the left, it increases. The 4 is in the tens position. The 3 is in the hundreds. The 2 is in the thousands. And the 1 is in the 10,000s. Now let's go to the right of the decimal. So the 6, which is the first number to the right of the decimal, is tenths. Real big emphasis on that THS sound at the end. The 7 is in hundredths. Again, emphasis on the THS. The 8 is thousandths. 10,000ths for the 9. And finally, the 0 is in the 100,000ths. Again, emphasis on the THS sound at the end of those. So you'll notice when you start at the ones, when you move to the left, you're multiplying by 10. Okay, if I'm going from the tens to the hundreds, again, I'm multiplying by 10. If I'm going from hundreds to thousands, I multiply by 10. If I'm going from thousands to 10,000s, I multiply by 10. You see the pattern here as we keep multiplying by 10. Our number system is called a base 10 number system, and it's because of this place value. We're constantly multiplying or dividing by 10. If I'm going the opposite direction, which I know I already drew arrows here, but I can also draw them in the opposite direction. If I'm going in the direction of the gray arrows, I would be dividing by 10. But of course, if I want to move from the thousandths to the 10,000ths, that would be multiplying by 10. So it depends. If you're moving to the left, you're multiplying. If you're moving to the right, you're dividing. When you move to the left, you're getting larger. And when you move to the right, you're getting smaller. All right, so let's work on some practice problems. We need to find the place value of 3 in 4,356. So what I'm going to do is I am going to color code this. Let's see, I will put the red in 4, or excuse me, the 4 in red. I will do the 3 in blue, the 5 in green, and we'll do the 6 in yellow. Okay, so we need to determine the place value of the 3. Okay, so let's start with the 4. The 4 is in the thousandths place value. Then we switch to the blue for the 3. The 3 is in the hundredths position. So there's 300. Green plus 50. And finally plus 6. Okay, and if we break that down even further, okay, the 4,000 is 4 thousandths. Plus 3 hundredths plus 5 tens plus 6 ones. So again, we're trying to find the place value of our 3. Our 3 is in the hundreds position. So the place value of our 3 is the hundreds position. Moving on. What is the value of the digit 5 in the following number? 395,492. So we're trying to look at this 5 here. The 2 is ones, tens, hundreds, and then thousands. So our 5 is in the thousands position. So the answer that matches that is C. The value of the 5 is 5 thousandths because it's in the thousands position. All right, see, not too bad. How many times greater is the number represented by the digit in the 10 thousandths place than the number represented by the digit in the tens place? So we are comparing two different digits here. So it looks like we're looking at the digit in the 10 thousandths place, so we'll mark that with a blue. So the 9 is in the 10 thousandths place. And then we're comparing it to the digit in the tens place. So the digit in the tens place is 7. So let's write down the place value of these numbers. We just said that the 7 is in the tens position and the 9 is in the 10 thousandths position. Let's see how many times we have to jump to go from the tenths position to the 10 thousandths position. So starting at the tenths, go 1, 2, 3 times. So we have to jump 3 times. Okay, so come back up again. If I'm in the tens position, which is right here, okay, and I'm moving to the 10 thousandths, I've made 1 hop, 2 hops, 3 hops. So that's 10, 10, and 10. So 10 times 10 times 10 is 1,000.
And a quick way of doing that is if you see we have 1, 2, 3 zeros, so our answer is 1 with 1, 2, 3 zeros. Okay, so the correct answer is letter D.
All right, finally, how do I round to a certain place value? So there's a couple of steps that we'll need to follow in order to do that. So let's write those down. Step 1. First thing I need to do is circle the place value I'm rounding. Step 2. Step 2, we need to underline the next digit. So that means the digit to the right. And then finally, step 3 depends on one of two situations. So either if underlined digit is less than 5, we are going to leave our circle digit the same. We call this rounding down. Or if our underlined digit is 5 or more, then we increase the circle digit by 1. And this is called rounding up. All right, so let's do an example. It wants us to round the following numbers to the nearest 100. So if I'm following along to my steps above, step 1 says circle the place value I'm rounding. So it says I'm wanting to round to the nearest 100. So starting with the first number, 3,943, I need to circle the number that's in the hundreds position, which is 9. Okay, step 1 is done. Step 2, underline the next digit. Step 2 is done. Step 3, if the underlined digit is less than 4, or if the underlined digit is 5 or more, for us we have 4, which is less than 5, so we have to come down this path. that means we leave our circle digit the same. And then everything else behind that circle digit becomes a 0, which is something I missed in the steps above. So this becomes, we keep the 9 the same, and then everything else behind the 9 becomes zeros. So 3,943 rounded to the nearest hundred is going to equal 3,900. All right, one last example. We need to round the following number to the nearest hundred. Okay, so again, we're rounding the hundreds. Oh, looks like we have a 9 again. So step 1, circle the place value I'm rounding. Step 2, underline the next digit. Okay, then step 3 depends on if it's more than 5 or less than 5. For us this time it's going to be 5 or more, so we have to increase our circled digit by 1, which is rounding up. So we have to increase our circled digit, which is 9, up by 1. Well, this is kind of confusing because the next number after 9 is 10. Okay, so basically what we do is we add this 1 to the 2 in the thousands position. So it's going to be 63,000. And then now everything else becomes a 0.